What is the need for me?
All right. Silence. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Nicholas Lutakome is an insurance practitioner with over 15 years experience. He's a family man with 3 beautiful girls and currently works for CIC General Insurance as the CEO. The first and most importantly is branding. Branding is personal or company. If you have a brand and you're believed in, your doors are open for you and you're able to do that. The second one is consistency. If you deliver on the promise you make, and that means that people will always come back to you seeking for solution. And the third one is self-esteem. You believe in yourself. You offer that to yourself. You inspire others. It goes beyond your capacity. You build others and lift them up. So, a smaller company can overcome larger competition unconventionally by identifying a niche and identifying that particular market space which the bigger companies are ignoring, and identifying with them and cutting out the cost and offering something with a low margin and scaling it up. There are more downsides of being a market leader than upsides because everyone is rooting for your position and it puts you in a spotlight. What it does for you is it gives you sleepless nights because you always have to aim to maintain that position and you have to always look over all other boardrooms to see what everyone is working on. Sometimes it makes you lose vision of your own objective. If you're obsessed with the word market leadership that way, the best way is to always be that person who is the best at what you do, not being a market leader, because you always remain focused on your objective.
Welcome again to another conversation of CDJ, and today we are talking trust and competitive advantage, because you might start your business, but how do you beat the competition? Because everyone can be a number one, can want to be a number one when you're the number last. So we brought Mr. Nicholas to break it down, but before,
the housekeeping rules stand. Okay?
In the house.
If you're new to this place, if you're new to these faces, subscribe. If you're a regular here, like, leave a comment, share, tell a friend,
yes.
and then follow us on our socials as well. I don't think we say that enough. We have social media platforms.
Which
are down here, but just in case, Vida Nodaka and
CP Josh.
There we go. So, on to today's topic.
Yes, so today we are not masters of all. We are not the jacks of all trades. We brought seasoned leaders to show us how to lead a business in surviving competition, how to stay number one, how to stay ahead of the curve. I am not going to introduce because I might do it just this service. So we have Mr. Nicholas. I'm excited to have Nicholas here. So welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh, pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Nicholas has introduced. My trade is insurance, and it's what I've done for all my life. I do deal with a lot of complex situations because our business involves making promises and promises for things that to happen at a future date. And for you to be able to convince someone to plan for that, you need to build an environment of confidence, an environment of comfort, and anchored on trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Sounds like a very hard day at the office every day.
Yes. Because you're telling people you might die. Plan better.
Plan better. Someone
Your
says,
kids,
why are you telling me?
Plan better. Yeah, so really, as you can see in the game of insurance with Mr. Nicholas, that means the competition is stiffer than ever. With all the alternative brands in the market, both global and local. How do you ensure that you get trust and use trust as a strategic advantage?
Okay, good one. Good question. So the landscape of competition in today's business world has changed. Before, it used to be competition amongst peers. So when you mention competitions, you might be tempted to think we are competing with insurance companies.
Yes.
Our competition is way, way broader than that, because whatever we are offering has alternatives. And ours is even riskier because it has that alternative, which is called do nothing at all. So it's
they decide to.
Yes, the work is cut out for us because whatever it is we do is to position ourselves as custodians to tell you that there is a future ahead of you, or whatever venture you're embarking on has an end. Many people embark on ventures without an end in mind. It's so often you find people going to the mall. Doesn't matter the size of the mall, but they have nothing in mind that they are going to get out of the mall.
You're just going to the mall.
Yeah, so that's the life we have to deal with.
Okay.
It's not like I'm going to the mall, pick a cloth for the weekend and get back home. No. You have to first convince them, first of all, there's a dress. But when you get that dress, you need to do something to that dress. And then before you select it even, you have to do a few things. So we have to do a lot of that. And because the world is that broad, we end up competing with too many other alternatives in the market. And that is something that I personally like, because I love disrupting. And if someone is trying to disrupt me, I try to take the challenge, to think ahead, to see how I can actually outpace them, or how I can run ahead of them, how I can carve that out. So for me, the key to dealing with competition is to specialize. The entire market is not your market. The entire world is not your market. So you have to identify that which you can handle and be the best at in the world. And that might sound weird coming from a Ugandan environment. But if you're going to prepare matoke, you can be the best at it in the world. Because there's no matoke in Brazil, probably, or in Korea. So you identify that and you carve out your million customers and you build your own.
On that.
Yes, you build your own. In insurance, we have the same. If I'm going to do insurance for people people involved in fishing, the fishing trade has been as old as it can go.
As old as Peter.
Yes, or older than Peter. So if I'm going to understand how they do their business from the landing site deep into the water and all that, I can just spend my time, build trust with them, identify with them, and focus on that group. Before you know it, I'm moving from Lake Victoria to Lake Albert to Lake Choga, and I can build a company out of that. So just by way of example, I don't have to build it on how the Japanese do the fishing or the people in the Mediterranean or the other one. I can pick one or two things, but how do I bring it home?
Localize it.
Yes, and make those people feel it was done for them. So that's a belief. So when you identify with the people and you speak their language, you automatically close that gap and you're likely to build trust, which is mutual. You can't say I'm the most trusted. It is them to feel it.
To feel that you're the most.
So most times that means we brand ourselves number one trusted.
Kumbe. At the bottom of the pile.
It has its risks, because the mere fact that you're saying it's just like reminding your children and wife that I'm the man in the house.
That you have to say it means it is not happening.
It was lost somewhere.
I like that. And I like the way you've carved out that we as a business, you're looking at even alternative competition. Like it's no longer direct, it's no longer only about in your space. So that means even your customers are evolving. Yeah. But I like the aspect where you showed us that transparency is key. So how does that work to retain your customers, and reduce them veering off, or even when they you bring them back like Mugembe, you just come away.
Yes, so what transparency does is it helps to make your work predictable and the outcome predictable. And many people don't like transparency. I'm not meaning the ones offering the service, but the ones consuming it.
Yes.
So they want to hear what they want to hear, because a lot of buying is emotional. It's not functional.
That's true. That's true.
And many people have preyed on that. That's why there is always version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. An iPhone has been upgraded. Is it 15 times now?
Yes.
And the Bible and the Quran have never been upgraded. It is still version 1, version 0.
Original.
Yes. So they say anything that gets upgraded ends up in one place. A new version comes, it goes to the dustbin.
Yes.
Yeah. So what transparency does is I'm not against upgrades.
Yes.
Upgrades are good, but upgrades should come from the customers, not from the
not because you feel that.
Yes. So nothing against the iPhone. It's a fantastic thing, or the Samsung, or which other brands that is there. But the whole thing about it is it makes your work more predictable, give your customers control. If I look at some sectors right now, whereby there is a lot of self-service, if you have to move money from here to Natete or to Nakulavie or very far, you can even say Nimule, you do not need an educated person putting on a necktie and behind a glass to help you do that. You need something that is predictable, that even when the network is off, you would understand and wait for a few minutes.
Yes.
Because they did one thing, they made it transparent. The service is actually slightly more expensive than the other, but they are so predictable, they are so transparent, and in so doing, you're willing to pay the price without even looking at it, and they have removed all the red tape. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't open at 9 and close at 4:30. And there's no dress code. But there's too much engineering in there.
Yes.
Getting that done. The level of sophistication of software engineering has been simplified. And your teller is the person in a kiosk multitasking with his soda business, his snacks business, and if you need to load, they will load the money. They have no bullion fund in front of them. They have no cash in transit car or security guard watching over them, because there has been transparency and trust built around the society, that the ecosystem feeds on each other. So it's something that we as insurers are trying to crack on that side as well. If I'm going to give you something and I say it the way Kodak will do it, they will give you a film with a camera and say, just press this, leave the rest to us. You don't really know what happened.
What
You don't know what happened between you and them.
For you, just not impressed.
So right now, the guys who are rolling cameras will tell you, if I'm taking passport photos for ladies, they don't go to the printer before they upload. Because you have to first start.
You have to first see. Not this one.
It has to be transparent.
Exactly.
This is good.
So the bit about that is, it is easier to do in some industries.
Yes.
It is not that easy in others, like ours. But we aim to get there.
Yes.
How does someone buy something simplified, not so complicated, that they feel safe, they are in charge? Because when you give customers charge of taking care of their things, you even don't have to have too many staff doing this work for you. So telecom companies are not the biggest employers in this country. but their biggest, the multiplier effect of employment they create is immense. But those guys don't work for them.
Yes.
But they struggle to get their branding put before their shops. As non-paid.
So, but you want your Momo, natural things there, yes.
Because that's one of the effects trust brings.
Okay.
Yeah, people are willing to associate with your brand, promote it without realizing they are promoting it. So it becomes a source of livelihoods.
It's interesting. It's really interesting that the price for transparency is just predictability. Like if you're predictable enough, in my mind, I know
you
are transparent because I know this is what's going to happen.
This is a process.
Beautiful.
But Nicholas, you've led teams over the 10 plus years in the insurance space, and from life to all these needs, because I like that the offerings are too many, from community products to the bespoke products. And the one thing I know you're passionate about is teams. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you as a leader, you act through your people. So how do you get them to actually deliver on the promise that we are trying to get to the customer? Usually, how do you motivate the team? Because most times we might be transparent,
but the people implementing there
are not transparent. So how does the culture of transparency? How do you deliver?
How does it cascade down?
Yeah.
So I think it's not very easy, but it's doable. One of the things that I learned at an early age was there's an acronym, WIIFM. What is in for me? So many of the times you go out there, everyone is selling something, but no one wants to be a salesman. And everyone is selling something, but no one wants to be sold to. So the hardest thing to lead is a sales team.
To replay.
Okay.
Everyone is selling something, but no one wants to be a salesman. Everyone is selling something, but no one wants to be sold to.
Yes. Have you ever wondered why when you enter a supermarket or a mall, you're less stressed than going through a market?
Very true.
So reason being, they are both doing the same thing, but one is a little more intentional.
Yes.
No, the guy in the market is intentional.
Yeah,
I've actually had to take some rounds around the park and the landing site just to learn. The selling skills these guys have are interesting if you're not going there to buy, but you're just going there to learn, how they maneuver. Like these things, if you go to them, the guys who create memes would have a database for that. They are highly skilled because this is not something you taught in school. All of us are selling something to everyone, but when we are put in a position of sales, we say we are on account executive on this. What we are doing is sales. So how do I create dignity to that? So going back to WIIFM, what is in for me? Every time you're talking to people, in our nature of business, insurance, people don't buy companies, not yet. That we are very far from there. There are some few sophisticated guys who would buy companies, and institutions can buy companies, because in institutions decisions are normally based on fear and compliance and a few other things. But you and me, we normally don't buy companies, we buy the people.
You buy the people, yes.
Yeah, so we do need the people, because the first few sales are sympathy sales. The guy when you've been hustling with, he's trying to sell you the notion that you father the child the other day and you can have education for the child in a better school, whatever. It shows you one or two things you didn't know him as an expert in math, but all of a sudden he's doing for you a spread, and then you're like, my guy. Let me give you. Say 200 a month. Can I do 100 for the first year? So it's the person you're buying. It might be sympathy, but it's coming through because you're connected and all that. So it is important for us to work with people, because AI and the high-tech apps and all that will not get people to buy. They will just make the sales process easier. Yeah, but no one's going to go into a search engine on a Saturday looking for an insurance product unless it's winning a tender and so it's so we need people to talk to. People. So one of the things that I've learned to do is I always do it in the perspective of the other party. And this is not manipulation, it's inspiration. I say, okay, you're waiting for that dream job, but it requires experience. And here you have an opportunity to gain experience. You get a network, that dream job will find you there. If you stay at home and you do one or two things,
the dream job might not come.
No, it might, but it may take longer because you have no experience. But here you have an opportunity to say you work somewhere. Then you go in. Then the other thing is you can make some living out of this, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is you can learn a lot. Because when I introduce you to this organization where we are servicing their customer, you're known by people.
Yes.
And people who matter. So that is something. You can accidentally make money, but you solve their problems because they need. They are looking at you as an expert. You might have just trained for a month, but you're an expert now, according to them. So if from that you learn, you build your expertise. The targets we set for people, sometimes we communicate them poorly. If you're in a business like you're here and you need to do, let's say for every video you send out there, you need to have some sponsors on board, and someone has to look for people placing ads, and you give him a target that I need 20 million a month, just as an example. And for every million you give me, I give you 100,000 back. So that means 20 would be 2 million.
2 million.
So the problem is communicating that 20 million and pushing him to deliver 20 million, because then he feels used.
Yes.
You're using him for your aim. The better way is to show him when you're monitoring him every week, every day. You say, oh, thanks, you did this. You're now 1.6 million away from your target. Your family deserves this. Your mother deserves this. Your wife deserves this. Your children deserve better. So by so doing, you're driving it to what matters to you. And ultimately, you also might achieve yours. But then you care that he earns.
Yes.
And you want to hold him to his own personal target. So you become a coach and a boss. Yes. So that's the bit that helps to do that. And when people continuously see this, they may not achieve the 2. They might achieve 1.2 or 800. They are more inspired the following month coming up.
To hear
because they don't feel used, they feel inspired. They are not running away from you because of the 16 million to go. But they want to come to you because they want to buy that phone.
Yes.
And they want you to give them inroads on how to
get there.
So they come to you saying, I am this much close
to this. Can you help
to achieving this thing?
So it's really carrying them with you and being transparent. Not at the end of when we are doing PIP or
yes. It's also about looking at it from their perspective. What do they gain? If they gain what you're telling them they'll gain, then you eventually would also gain. So if they hit their target of 2 million a month, behind the scenes you're getting your 20.
Kogamba, at the end of the day, what is in it for me? For me is if you subscribe, I get to bring more people. And then you are getting free knowledge and you might learn that dream job. Not might, you will learn, but you have to put in the work. So please subscribe, tell a friend, because they say your net worth is the network. So don't eat the knowledge alone. But it's an exercise as we are proceeding. I've liked you brought these topics so close to home and you make it so it seems so easy. But especially now in that space, there is now when that one ship that goes off the rail. Maybe you have a PR nightmare as a company, you have a complaint from a customer, and
a very vocal customer.
Every post, everything you put up, they come. You people doing. You
stole our money.
You know all those things. How does then transparency? How can we use that attribute of transparency as an organization to deal with that
crisis? So there is no formula to dealing with a crisis. You can shake anyone.
Yes.
Yeah, because reputation is something that we guard with our lives. And it's something small can drain it down. Normally, a few examples of how you can respond to such is the first thing you do is to first hold together. Make sure everyone is okay and everyone matters. So the first, if you have staff, they are the first people you bring together. We've had this crisis. Tell them the truth.
There's a crisis.
There's a chance, there's a possibility that you actually messed up. Or there's a possibility that you're being leveraged. Yeah, so whichever way you're communicating, show empathy to the other party.
Okay.
Who is aggrieved. Do not attack the party, even in the privacy of you and your staff. You show empathy to the people. And then, if someone has messed up, don't reprimand that person. Just use that chance of saying something didn't come out right. He did it, he's emotionally disturbed because he feels he has let all of us down. But when we hold together, we will save him from that mental breakdown and we pull together. Now this is the time not to point fingers.
It's time to hold hands together.
Yes. Then of course now you have a few customers who are close to you. You reach out, you give the facts, and at the end you express your sympathies to the aggrieved customer. Be more positive and be more willing to extend the reach. I rarely would encourage to engage through the media because then that feeds the
fire.
Yeah, the fire. But then leave your line open for the person to come in and you have a conversation. You may not reach out directly, or you might reach out depending on how the PR experts tell you. But create an environment for the prodigal son to come back. And when they come back, you do not start by asking them to reprimanding them for all the wrong things they might have said out of emotion. Start by sympathizing, empathizing with them, and then do not demand things like go and pull it out, that kind of thing. The moment you start doing those, you may even pay money for that. It means
something.
No. The other thing is it means you're opening yourself up for future.
Yes, for future issues.
You say these guys, if you want to get a million out of them,
you
just
do
blow
this.
Yes. I say, but I was amazed. These people actually are human. It is that human element that helps you to jump out of a crisis. You first deal with those closest, and then those closest to the heart are informed even before they see. And then you hold together. Whatever happens, try not to be on the defensive. Don't be on the defensive, but show the learnings.
So it seems like managing a crisis is a continuous move of bringing people closer to you to understand
and
each
being more
other.
transparent with what you're offering. So you're not saying we don't make mistakes. You're just saying
a mistake happened, but we can work it out together.
We've learned. We've learned how to deal with this, and next time we'll perform better.
And you know the insurance game, as you've said, we are all salesmen. So literally, we actually all say we just don't like.
We just don't like putting the title there.
We are selling, but and it's a very target-based kind of environment. It's a numbers game, and the reason why we appreciate you actually being here is to appreciate the other things in that space that can help you achieve. But if you could share some strategies or certain numerical or trackers that you consider to know that transparency is working for the business, or it's whether it's improving on a revenue side or on a sentimental side or on a stakeholder side. How would I know that the fact that we are transparent, it's working
in favor of the
business, so that we are not just
transparent for the sake of being
transparent. Because sometimes, you can scream and people still ignore you because maybe you're not saying the things, as you've said, we are being defensive, but we think we are being transparent.
Oh, not considered WIIFM.
What is it? Yeah. So what are those things where, as a leader in this space, you feel like when we are transparent, these are some of the things you can see that are because of that initiative, that the business is growing.
So that's the tricky one, because when you're transparent, the dividend is not always monetary. You may not be able to reflect it on your balance sheet in your profits. But what it does is it helps to build a brand. So that's the brand equity. It can be a person, it can be a company, it can be an environment. There are cases where you look at a person and you ask them a question, have you ever been in this environment? Because people who behave like that from that environment. Yes. So they may be working for this organization. Tomorrow they go the other organization, and they know everything you do, but they can't replicate it there.
That's it. Yes.
Because the culture there doesn't support. But whatever it is you say, they can stand up and say, I don't like those guys, we are competitors, but they can't do that. Now that is a brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So people would stand up to defend you without you saying a word, because of what they know about you. At that level, you know you would have achieved it. If you consistently doing something predictable, even people who disagree with you will defend you at the time when you're down.
Okay, so basically the value of transparency is seen in how healthy your brand is.
And sustainable your business in the long run.
Okay.
Man, Danny, I'm over. Like, I really like.
I like the simplicity. You have brought this foreign thing for many people, like insurance, and brought it down to a level where we can honestly all understand.
Yes.
We all relate to it. Now, if someone try to sell insurance to me, I'll be in a position to better understand it, but I also now have the right questions to ask before I'm like, I'm buying a policy.
Yes. So, and for me, what I feel like most times we have always misunderstood the industry. And I see, and I like that, the transparency topic shows how the game now has to be played. It's beyond just the product or the sale, but actually the transparency can sway easily to buy.
Actually, insurance companies have been like tax collectors in Jesus' days. Everyone really looked at tax collectors with a side eye. I think that's how insurance companies are looked at now. But the angle that you bring it out, I think it gives insurance companies a better light, gives them a better name. It makes us more trusting.
The industry,
makes us more trusting of.
There's something for me.
There's something for me.
The fact is, insurance companies do collect taxes. So the telecom company, every other person. Actually, the telecoms and banks collect taxes on a daily. But there's a reason you don't see them that way. So we aim to get to that level.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
But I think, do you have a parting shot? A parting shot. Now, this is you speaking to the rest of the world about insurance.
Could it be about insurance?
Pick one, either insurance or you.
Or about life.
Okay,
so about life, it is us. People buy you as a person. It doesn't matter what trade you're in. So always make sure that you never miss the opportunity to make a good first impression.
Okay.
First impressions last.
So I think we've made a very good first impression, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. So if you're still here this time, subscribe, make an impression on us. Subscribe
and join
the
community. There's a newsletter community. Impress us, by joining the newsletter community.
And so that we can keep bringing you more of this. Thank you, Nicholas, for being here. We definitely, as you can see, this lineup, we have return leg. This is the Champions League. We're definitely bringing him back for other series of conversations and guidance in other trades, generally doing business, the authentic and transparent way. So let us be transparent, let us be better, yes, and always consider what is in it. For me, that is my take home. Hashtag WIIF.
All right, see you guys on the next episode and be good.